This is Audible.
Audible Inc. presents On Target, written by Mark Greaney, narrated by Jay Snyder.
Prologue. Dark clouds hung low above the Irish Sea, fat in the moist morning air, and tracked slowly over the assassin as he stood on the wooden foredeck of the fishing boat. A few screeching herring gulls had encircled the vessel while it was still miles offshore. Now that it had entered the harbor channel, a flock 12 strong swarmed above and around, churning the mist with their white wings. The seabirds shrieked at the vessel, bleated warnings to the Irish coast of the arrival of a killer to its shores. But their warnings were lost in the vapor. The boat docked in its harbor slip just before 8 a.m. The assassin climbed off the deck and onto the quay without a glance at the two crew members. Not a single word had been exchanged in the 3 hours since the 40-foot Lock-in had picked its passenger up from a Lithuanian freighter in international waters. He remained on the deck, moving fore and aft, vigilantly scanning the roiling sea around him, his black hooded raincoat protecting him from the salty spray and the occasional shower, as well as the curious eyes of the father and son who operated the boat. The crew remained in the wheelhouse during the journey, following strict instructions. They had been told to pick up a passenger and then keep away from him, to return him to Howth Harbor just north of Dublin. After delivering this odd catch of the day, they were to enjoy their payment and hold their bloody tongues. The assassin walked through the seaside village to the tiny train depot and bought a ticket to Connolly Station in central Dublin. With half an hour to kill, he stepped down the station steps and into the basement pub. The Bloody Scream served a full Irish breakfast for the fishermen in the harbor. The long, narrow room was more than half full of men wolfing down plates of eggs and sausage and baked beans, washing it all down with pints of ink-dark, foamy Guinness stout. The assassin knew how to assimilate in unfamiliar surroundings. He grunted and gestured to hide his foreign accent, and ordered the same as those around him. He dug into his plate and drained his beer before leaving the Bloody Scream to catch his train. A half hour later, he trudged through Dublin. He wore his brown beard thick and a blue watch cap down over his ears and forehead, a scarf tight around his neck, and a dark blue peacoat into which his gloved hands dug deep to hide from the frigid air. Hanging over his shoulder, a small canvas bag swung with his footsteps. He headed south away from the train station, then turned right at the quay of the River Liffey and followed it as chilled rain began to fall. The assassin walked on. He looked forward to getting this errand behind him. He had not been comfortable at sea, nor was he comfortable now in the morning crowd growing around him as he neared O'Connell Street. But there was a man here in Dublin who, it had been decided by someone with money and influence, should cease to exist. And Court Gentry had come to see to that. Chapter 1. At a pharmacy, he bought a pack of acetaminophen tablets and a bottled water. He'd been injured a few months back, a bullet through the thigh and a knife blade into his gut. The pain had lessened by the week. The body had incredible power to heal, so much greater than that of the mind. Court had grown dependent on the pills and injections, Vicodin and OxyContin, Demerol and Dilaudid. A surgeon in Nice had kept him supplied since the operation to clean and close his abdominal wound, and Gentry had popped pills each day since. But he'd purposely left them behind when he boarded the freighter. He'd gone over a week now without his meds, and this self-imposed detox was making him miserable. The acetaminophen was no substitute for a heavy narcotic, but his mind found comfort in the ritual of swallowing the tablets nonetheless. 3 hours after leaving the boat, he checked into a Chinese-run budget hotel in a narrow alley off Parnell Street, a half-mile north of the river. His room was dark and dank and smelled of mold and frying grease. The restaurant 2 floors below him blew the stench through the vents. A near-horizontal rain beat steadily on the dirty window, but failed to clean it, the oily grime